Parsha Lekh-Lekha. Rebbe Nachman writes in Likutei Halachos, Orachaim, Hilchas Tefillin, Halacha Hey, paragraph Yud Daled, that we find Parsha Lekh-Lekha follows the closing words of Parsha Noach, which are Vayomos Terach Bechoron, that Terach, the father of Avraham Avinu, who was known for his idol worship. The Gemara tells us that Terach had a department store of idols. He was the supplier for idols for people all around him. And when he realized that his son Avraham Avinu refused to believe in these idols and to accept them, Terach went so far as to turn over his son Avraham Avinu to the authorities, to give him over to the hands of King Nimrod, who tried to do what he could to put Avraham Avinu to death, to throw him into a fiery furnace. And Hashem miraculously saved Avraham Avinu from this type of death. So that Terach represents the ultimate in idol worship. And on this pasuk, at the end of Parshas Noach, Vayomos Terach Bechoron, Terach died in the city of Choron. Rashi HaKodesh says, Ad kan charoin af shel mokoim. The anger of Hashem went till here, till Terach. Terach was the last one to instigate the anger of Hashem to this degree. We know that the Gemara tells us, Kol zman sheyesh avodah zara bo'ilam, charoin af bo'ilam, that as long as there is idol worship in the world, the anger of Hashem is prevalent. At Terach's demise, now that Terach passed away and the world was beginning a new era, the life of Avraham Avinu who was called Rosh Lama'aminim, the first of the believers, a person who not only displayed great faith in Hashem, but also broadcasted this faith. He taught thousands of people. He and his wife, Sarah Imenu, were makarev, many gerim. As the pasuk tells us in this week's Parsha, Ves hanefesh asher osu bechoron, the souls which Avraham Avinu and his wife Sarah Imenu created bechoron. And the Gemara says again that bechoron means bacharoin af, the souls that they created with anger, with turbulence, meaning that this was no easy task to take people who didn't know about faith in Hashem and to bring them close. This required engaging anger, the anger of the Sitra Achra, the anger of the Satan, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, and the anger of all of those who believed in idols at the time, which were the majority of the people. And Rebbe Nachman tells us that because Avraham Avinu had this faith, and he represents the beginning, opening a new chapter of faith in Hashem, this is why he was the first one to whom Hashem revealed the holiness of Eretz Yisrael, the specialness of the land of Eretz Yisrael, because the land of Eretz Yisrael is the center of faith in the world. The pasuk says in Tehillim, Shchon Eretz Urei Emunah, live in the land and be nourished from its faith. And Rebbe Nachman adds, we know that Eretz Yisrael is also the place of arichas apayim, patience, where a person can learn the patience and the tolerance that's needed to succeed in coming close to Hashem. And for this, we turn to Likutei Moharan, chapter 155, and we'll quote different portions of it. One of the most special things about the land of Eretz Yisrael, and it'll clarify it in the context of Avraham Avinu and Terach as we're speaking. Rebbe Nachman begins this chapter by saying, Atzvus humido ro ma'oid. Depression is a terrible characteristic. Uma she'odam eino noisea lahatzadik humachmas atzvus ukvedus. The fact that a person doesn't have the energy and the motivation and the inspiration to search for and to come close to the tzaddik is from depression, sadness, heaviness, an attitude of giving up on oneself or giving up on having any major success in life spiritually. V'chein ma she'enoi mispalel koroi hu gamkein machmas atzlus v'atzlus. And so too, the fact that people really don't give it their all, putting their whole heart and all of their effort into praying to Hashem, is also because of sadness and laziness. Hainu machmas chisoroin emuna, which in other words means because of a lack of faith in Hashem and lack of faith in oneself. Ki bevadai im hoyoloi emuna shlema, because we can say most definitely that if a person really believed 100% in Hashem, in the Torah, in themselves, in the tzaddikim, v'hoyo mamin sh'Hashem yisborach oimed olo v'shomea kol dibur v'dibur she'yotze mipiv, and a person would believe that there is a Hashem who is listening to each and every single word that I'm saying in my prayer, bevadai lo hoyo lo shum atzlus v'atzlus ukvedus betfilosoi, the person would not be sad, lazy, heavy, or weak in their prayer. Ubevadai hoya mispalel koroi, but rather a person would be praying with joy, with feeling, with inspiration, putting their whole heart into it, putting everything they could into it. Ach ikr bilbul hatfila hubo machmas chisoroin emuna. But rather the main thing that weakens and confuses and disperses the effectiveness of a person's tefillah is lack of complete faith. When a person is lacking in complete faith, then they can easily fall into laziness, depression. And Rebbe Nachman explains this now using a parable, a moshel. He says when a person takes a kernel of wheat and puts it into earth that's fertile, then that kernel grows beautifully, and no winds or storms or thunder or anything like that harm it in any way, because it has the proper energy to grow. Whereas if this same kernel of wheat is put into land that's not fertile, then the kernel ends up rotting, spoiling, because it doesn't have that energy that it needs to be able to grow, that energy that it draws from good fertile soil. And Rebbe Nachman says that energy is called faith. As the Torah tells us in Megillah Esther, when it speaks about Mordechai HaTzadik raising his niece Esther Amalka, it says, Vayhi oimein es hadasa. He raised her. The term to raise something, to give it the ability to grow and to succeed and to sprout forth beautifully, that ability is called emunah. And as the Gemara tells us in Shabbos, emunah zeh seder zroim, that all those books of the Gemara, of the Talmud, that deal with planting and growing, all of those are referred to as emunah. And Rabbi Nachman says a little bit further, v'zeh bechinas erech hapayim. This is also synonymous with the concept of patience, tolerance, a person having the ability to hang in and weather the storms that one has to weather before they can achieve complete success in coming close to Hashem. She'ein shum dovar yochel lebalbel oisoi. Erech hapayim means ma she'eino yore mishum dovar, the fact that a person isn't afraid of anything. Ve'enoi mashgiach al shum bitul ubilbul b'avoidosoi, the person is able to ignore anything that would hold them back in any way from serving Hashem with full inspiration, motivation, and effort. Rak oiseh shaloi, but rather the person continues, persists, and keeps moving in a forward direction, keeps going close to Hashem, being able to ignore the turbulence, the setbacks, and other things that could chas v'shalom dissuade a person from achieving complete success in religion. Ki loy ichbas loy shum dover. Nothing bothers him, nothing upsets him, nothing confuses him. Rak oises shaloi b'avodos Hashem yisborach. The person does their thing in serving Hashem. Rabbi Nachman tells us that this arichas apayim is the opposite of charoinaf. Charoinaf means anger. When something bothers a person, it manifests itself in anger. The opposite, the Gemara tells us that kol zman sheyesh avodah zora b'olam, as long as there's avodah zora in the world, there's this charoinaf in the world. This causes the anger of Hashem. The opposite of avodah zarah is emunah, faith, which is the opposite of anger, which leads to arichas apayim, this patience and tolerance that a person needs to be able to get to the finish line. Because obviously, in order for a person to come close to Hashem, there has to be turbulence, there have to be setbacks. It doesn't always go smooth. And if a person is going to allow themselves to get upset, to get angry, to get depressed over these setbacks, they'll never make it. It's only a person who has this arichas apayim, the patience that's needed, and the tolerance to be able to persist despite these circumstances and ignore them for the most part, that person will succeed completely. And Rebbe Nachman goes on to show that this is actually the reason for the deep yearning and the fiery inspiration that Moshe Rabbeinu felt in wanting to come to Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin, Vayemaher Moshe vayikoid arza vayishtachu, that Moshe Rabbeinu did everything he could to work quickly. Vayikoid arza, the word vayikoid literally means to bow, but the word vayikoid also means to have a burning desire. Moikdo means a fire. He had a burning desire for arza, for Eretz Yisrael. So the Gemara says, what did Moshe Rabbeinu see in Eretz Yisrael that caused him to feel this burning desire for it? And the Gemara says, he saw arichas apayim. He saw that Eretz Yisrael is a land where a person can learn and absorb this patience, tolerance. Eretz Yisrael is the land of faith in Hashem, where the faith is so strong that no matter what kind of setbacks, no matter what kind of turbulence the person sees along the way, their faith gives them the ability to just keep going, to ignore the turbulence and to keep going and to eventually succeed completely and get to the finish line. This is why Moshe Rabbeinu felt such a tremendous desire and yearning to get to Eretz Yisrael. And Rebbe Nachman concludes that so too each and every single Jew has to beg Hashem to have an intense desire for Eretz Yisrael, to arrive in Eretz Yisrael, and those who are living in Israel to be zeichet to receive the goodness of Eretz Yisrael, to be zeichet to connect to it and absorb the special powers of Eretz Yisrael, the faith, the patience that one can achieve in Eretz Yisrael. This is why also Rebbe Nachman tells us, right before a Jew says the Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, in the Shachris Tefillah, where we express our faith in Hashem, we precede it by asking Hashem to bring us to Eretz Yisrael. V'hu yolichenu konemius la'artzenu, because we know that when a person gets to Eretz Yisrael, that's when they have this patience that's synonymous with having complete faith. As we mentioned earlier, one who believes completely in Hashem, in the Torah, and in themselves. Such a person, even if they see it's taking time, even if they see that things aren't going smooth, they're having setbacks, it seems as if they're not succeeding, that person will definitely persist and prevail.